Hello, friends. How are you doing today? Today I starting a little bit later because I have a meeting with a prospect client or consultant working for our company. I've been having a lot of meetings lately. So again, thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. If you find something interesting or you want to talk about something specific that is holding you back, we are going to talk about that now. I understand that many of you are very spiritual, religious, and so I don't try to impose anything, but I'm a Bible-based coach. I am here to reach people who wants to connect better with their spirituality and get their relation with God. And today we are going to talk about paradigms and what are paradigms. Bob Proctor is talking this week in his seminar. He talked about that also a couple of weeks ago about paradigms. And we basically, paradigms could be good or bad, but most of the time we talk about them as something that is bad and is happening repetitive in our life. It's a bad habit. Religious point of view, in other words, what is a paradigm? Is your conditioning in a negative way of what you can achieve or have in your life. And in a religion point of view, is simply a sin. Yep, a paradigm is a sin. Sin is a habit. It's a habit of thinking negative about us. We put so much emotion in what we don't want that we keep on doing it, and that's why we go back to confession or to talk about our sins. We have to talk with a pastor, with a rabbi, with a priest, and or whoever you need to talk to when you have done something that is wrong. And we keep on doing it. And why we keep sinning. And we all define ourselves as sinners. We all are sinners. But we sinners all that because we constantly sin. And why we constantly sin? Because we doubt. And why we doubt? Because if we had God as the most important thing and we don't need anything but God, then if we did something wrong, we sin against Him. Now, I took some notes. I was sleeping and I wake up in the middle of the night. I came up with all this and I found it very interesting, especially with all what I've been learning in my life in coaching. And very interesting is we are what we do. So this author here is called Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, we are what we think about all day long. Now, think is not in your conscious mind, but is what you feel, your subconscious mind. What you feel every day about you is who you are. So you are your actions. So I'm gonna read a little bit about my notes. I have 2 pages of notes. I hope so you guys like about this. So the first thing we write here is that we need to have God in our life. I'll explain you why. If you are not perfect, because there's no one perfect but God, and you commit a sin, who is going to forgive you if you cannot forgive yourself? Let's say you were riding your car and you don't believe in God. You ride in your car and you are with your family and you make a mistake like everybody and you kill your family. And you don't believe in God and you have that is a big sin. It's a big sorrow, pain in you. And you need to let go and you can move on. You lose everything because the sorrow is so big. So can you put that behind and get back into your life? Well, you have to have someone who's perfect, who commit no sin to forgive your sin, because you're not able to forgive your own. So that is when God is important to us. Now, in a daily life on coaching, we talk about paradigms too. And in paradigms, we have certain habits, that holding you back for reaching the goal you want. For example, the word I can't do that, impossible to do that, those are habits. But if you can't, if God gave you the creation to, yes, you can, and you keep repeating to yourself, you can't, it means you're sinning against the creation of God, which is you, which is the ability to create. So you are making a sin when you talk wrong about you. If God created you beautiful and you repeat to yourself, no one likes me because I'm not beautiful, then you are sinning against yourself. You have a habit of remembering you that you're sinning. You know, the devil is not ugly, it's the most beautiful thing. But through the beautiful, and we taught this a couple of days ago, he attracts to you. But the problem, he used a magic word, destiny. So if you make a mistake, he will come back and say, that is your destiny. Your destiny is keep doing that. But you are not destined to that because you create your own life. In coaching, you create your own circumstances by thinking, acting, and behaving in a certain way. So you can create the circumstances in your life. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a war or in the middle of a peace. You create your own circumstances every day. For example, I could have said, you know what, it's 12:30. I'm not going to talk today. I'm going to talk tomorrow. But I decided through my thinking, my attitude, and my passion for what I do, you know what, I had at this meeting and now I'm going to go and talk. Even if I talk 30 minutes later, it doesn't really matter because a lot of my viewers probably just watch me later. So it doesn't really matter. So the circumstances in your life are created by you, only you. You think that you live based on a circumstance. Oh, you're poor, you're sad, and it's because of the people, but it's not. It's about you. Okay, so we'll continue with this. So our negative paradigms are our sins. And our positive paradigms, which are positive habits, are our virtues. You see, in the church, we always talk that you need to harvest or you need to find virtues. And so we have this battle between sin and virtue, sin and virtue. And so we sin, and I'm Catholic, so I explain it this way. We go to a priest, we confess, we let go of the sin, we're forgiven by the sin, and we come back. But it seems that we're always coming back for the same sin, and we're still feeling bad, and we're feeling sorrow. When we come back, we fresh start. In coaching, because some of the coaches don't talk very much about religion, they find a way to do it differently. It basically is this way. You write down in a piece of paper what is bothering you, what is holding you back. Basically, your sin. You write down a piece of paper. And you grab that paper and you burn it. Just literally burn the paper. And so the sin is gone. You are not paying attention to it. And so you start writing down what you want in your life. So it's very nice because the spiritual people will do, they will go and pray, they will confess, which is same as burning the paradigm. You confess, you have a superior God who forgives that sin from you, so you can let go and keep your life the way you want it to be. And so it's important to understand that way you release, you detach from the negative. And now you're ready to focus on what you want. So you lose the focus, you release yourself from that negativity and you focus on what you want. So whether religious way or coaching way, or I would say coaching, there's coaching, religious coaching too. I do religious coaching, but I will say a non-denominational coaching, like a spiritual maybe or non-spiritual, it doesn't matter. So I was talking with a friend of mine today with friends, and we said this is the laws that many coaches talk out there, the laws come from God. And the problem when you detach the law from God, the law still works, but without God. But the problem is that when you don't have God in your life, you still have that emptiness. And I explain why. We all are spiritual beings, right? So if we are spiritual beings, we were created, right, for a creator. We created. And so Bob Proctor, for example, talks that one of his mentors said, we coming from somewhere and we going somewhere. In other words, where we coming from and where we going. If you have a creator that create you, it creates your spirit, which is your soul. Now, I'm going to link this again. What's the difference between an angel and a human? Angels, when they're created, they know everything, absolutely everything. So that's why an angel can refuse to service a low creation like a human and think himself greater. And when they do that, they fall. They fall from heaven. But they're created, and when they're created, they know everything. Humans don't know everything, so they have to learn by themselves. And so they are given a body, okay? They're given a body as a loan. And so they give you the body, so the spirit attached to the body. As you attach it to the body in your life, you're going to live your life, but that body one day is going to decay and it's going to die. But the spirit doesn't die, and the spirit goes back to the creator. You see, so there's never destruction, there's never death, because the spirit always go back to the creator. You can call it universe, you can call it whatever name you want. We call it God. We go back to God. So we are created by God. We got the experience to live, experience life on earth. And then we have the way to go back to God. You see, so very unique, because we don't know anything when we are in earth, and we have to create our own life. So when Bob Proctor talks, or Bob Proctor, or the Think and Grow Rich talks about us, one of the principles or laws of principle, I think so talking about principle, is said that you communicate with infinite intelligence. So infinite intelligence has to be an intelligence that knows everything, and you don't. You see, when you're on earth, you have a body that doesn't belong to you, but it was given to you. But you, when that body died, you go to the spirit. So the sin, and that's why we put it this way with God. We sin against God. We don't sin against God directly. We sin against God because we're sinning against ourselves, our life. We're restricting the happiness in our life. See, all this, the whole thing, coaching, Bible, everything is just one mission: for you to live happy. If you're not happy, then you need, or you go with a coach, a religious coach, or you go with other coach. But you have to be happy. If you're struggling with something, you're gonna have to have a coach. So it's like a medicine. See? So it's very important to understand that because you're sinning against yourself, and yourself as a person, as a body, then the body belongs to God. You're sinning against God. And then we Catholic, we do an act of contrition, that is basically we sin against God, and we want to repent. Now, how do we change paradigms? How do we change sins? Or how do we not change sins, but how we build virtues? So changing a paradigm, it doesn't mean you cannot eliminate the paradigm. What you create is a positive habit or positive paradigm, what we call in religious way a virtue. So the virtue is simply there to overshadow the old paradigm and be more important. So there's a simple way. Your mind is very rich because it can create everything. So whatever you create in your life is basically imagine first. First, you need to imagine your mind. First, you need to have in your mind before you can actually do it. And because it's in your mind, and you in your mind, you believe, you're confident, your confidence builds in your mind, you physically can do it. So the way it works is that we need to do it, we need to change it in our mind first. But our mind depends on two parts. One is a conscious mind, the other was a subconscious mind. And we act upon what we believe. The subconscious mind is a belief. So if you believe in the scene, or you have an emotional attachment to the scene, you are going to keep doing the same scene or the same activity. However, if you change it, everything changes. It's a game changer. Because what happened, now you're changing that for a virtue in your subconscious mind, and it's your subconscious mind, which is you, working towards where you're getting. You naturally will do it. You don't have to even think about it. So how do we learn this? So they did a study in a book. It's called Cyber-Cybernetics, very good book. And so in there they did a study of people that, 3 teams of basketball. One team was supposed to play for practice for a whole week to throw the ball. The second one spent the same hour of practice, but playing in their mind. They have to concentrate. They were doing the same shot on the mind. And the third team wouldn't do anything. They came back with the first team, and they got an improvement of their game 25% in a week. The people who practiced their mind, the improvement was 24%. The people who didn't do anything, there were no improvement. So your body physically doesn't recognize whether it was a real practice that you were running or it's a mental practice. Now, this is beautiful because we said that success builds on success. So if you create success in your mind or your subconscious mind, that success will pass on to the real life. So if you ask successful people, when you were successful, they will say, I was successful when I was dead broke. I knew what I wanted. I knew I was going to get it. I knew it was just a matter of time to get it. So he was successful before. Now, we always say success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal. When you have a goal and you're working towards achieving that goal, then you're successful. So what happens if you don't have a goal? Then you're not successful. Which is why you're working for. You're working for nothing. So there's a lot of key things that you need to work on in your life to get this right. But the beauty of this is that you actually can do it in a piece of paper. You just start here. What do? Write down what you want. The opposite of your sin. The sin is simply a bad habit. It was coming back for you, chasing you to do something you don't want because you're so attached emotionally to it that this is the devil attacking me because doesn't want me to talk about this. But you're so attached emotionally with it that you cannot let go. You're emotionally attached to this sin. And that's why it keeps coming back and you keep going. So how do we detach from it? We need to change and focus on the emotion, on what we want, not in what we don't want. So what do? Again, we take it and we write it. I'll give you an example. This is what I write almost every day. What I want. What I want. What I want. All day, write it down what you want. Why? Because you want to override that sin from your mind. You want to override that paradigm that you have on your mind. And I can assure you, it's not immediately. It doesn't happen within one day. But it influences and change your attitude and the way you behave. And gradually start changing your circumstances around you. And now what it used to be bad, now it's getting better. What it used to be sad, now is good. Now, put it this way. If 98% of what you do is subconscious, which is mean living in your emotions, and you don't control it, then if you're not happy with your life, it's because maybe you have too much sin in your life. Now, put another thing, or a bad paradigm. So, what is depression? Depression, a friend of mine was just telling this, depression is basically anger against yourself. Now, you have anger against yourself? Depression, yes. Okay, anger and yourself. So anger has to come from thinking, right? So you can't be angry unless you have negative thought. So you have to be thinking. Second is yourself. So you're thinking negative about yourself. Let's take the negative out. You're thinking about yourself. Isn't that selfish? So depression is simply you putting all the attention in you. How do you get out of depression? Go and help someone else. Service. Why? When you help someone else, you get a reward that is not money. It's simply a reward that someone else is being helped by you. You feel useful. Service is what we call it, or I call it, love. Love is service. So when God came here and said, love one another, saying, service one another. And Jesus came here and said, I didn't come to be served, I came to serve. When you service someone else, you get a reward. So put it this way, you want to make money? Money is a reward of a service rendered to someone else. So if you're providing a service and they're grateful for that service, they will give you a reward, and that is going to be in money. But doesn't money need to be always given as money? It can be given as a smile, it can be given as a thank you, or it can be given as a blessing or a praying. You see, so the important thing here is to understand how all these match. Because sometimes people go to a coaching program and they say, you know what, this has nothing to do with the Bible, and I don't feel well with this, and I'll explain you this. Everything comes from the Bible. Everything. But these people has focused to work it out in such a way to explain you how to do it so you can benefit from it. You can spend years studying the Bible, probably maybe it take you 10 years to get out all the results. These people, and not only one, but thousands of people put it together. The only problem that sometimes I see, and it's fine, anybody can be whatever then, is the detachment between the teachings and God. And there's an emptiness. And you have to find that fullness. Because if you have a paradigm that keep coming back, yeah, sure, you can rewrite it. But you cannot think that you are kind of a God, because you're not. You were created by God. You cannot create like God. You see, you're sharing the creation with God because He gave you that ability to create. But He gave you that ability because allowing you to change your life the way you want it. Now, if you learn anything about this today, share it. Maybe go through the video a couple of times. Maybe take notes. Maybe check the Bible, check your coaching books, or talk to other people. Say, hey, you know what? Just listen to this guy online and he's talking about this. What do you think? Get information from other people. If you see the value, share it. Someone struggling with always the same sin and is still coming back. And let's say you're a priest. I don't know if I have any person that's a priest. Let's say you have a priest and you have someone always going back to confession and always confess the same thing. Well, how do we change it? I mean, we can forgive the sin, but it's still coming back and he's struggling. He's not happy. Overriding the sin for a virtue. So the good advice will say, why don't we sit down? Because you come in confession almost every day. Why don't we sit down and work to fix this? Because the question that no one asks, the shorter question of all, is why? Why you keep coming back to the same sin? Because maybe you didn't write it down, but you get so emotionally attached to it that it's still coming back, especially when you're sad or something happened. So you need to detach from yourself, focus on other people, and focus on writing what you want. And just write it down 1,000 of times a day, 50 times a day. And then gradually will start influencing the way you do things. And will help you. Now, let me see what other thing we talk about here. We talk about servicing others. So we are what we do, and you are your habits. You know, Bob Proctor put it this way, and I like Bob Proctor. It's amazing. I think so. He's so intelligent. So basically, you are what you believe you are. But you are what you believe you are. You do what you believe. So change your belief, your doing will change, and you will be different. So we can read it backwards too. I mean, it's not only the rule that has to be written this way, we can read it backward and try to understand it, how everything put together. Write down 1,000 times who you want to be, and you will attract it to you. That is the law of attraction. You know, it's like God said, your riches is where you put your heart into it. If you put your heart into it, you're going to get it. But what you put in your heart to it, is it good or bad? Is it a sin or is it a virtue? Thank you so much for tuning in. And I look forward for your comments. And you can always reach me on my website, Think Into Success Academy. You can send me a text message. We have a Facebook group if you want to join us. It's called Bob Proctor Mastermind and Paradigm Shift. And you're welcome to join us. If you don't find us, then send me a message and I'll send you the link to join you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and share and subscribe. And if you're watching us on Facebook, thank you. I think so. Say thank you more often is good. It helps you with gratitude. In gratitude, if you're grateful for what you have, you can be grateful for what you want to have as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And I'll jump for the Spanish lesson now. Have a good one, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow, because I had a couple of meetings, but definitely tomorrow, not 12, but eventually I'll come back. Definitely during the day. Okay, guys, bye-bye.